Good morning, everybody. Well, Mr. Schizo didn't get me this time. It come back, it did what it does. Right? Markets are up here. Everything's wonderful. Um, chaos turns into what's the big deal again. So here we are. Dow is up. What is it? 200 points thereabouts. The markets came back yesterday. Right? They came down near the support. Look, the Dow futures hit exactly the prior support. It's amazing. How does that happen without trend lines and fib lines and speed lines and envelopes and such, just by looking to the left? Who could imagine? It's so simple. So now we've got this reversal. If we hold on to the gain, which based on the range of these bars, the expectation here would be that the market wouldn't move all that much more today. Maybe it'll surprise us, and the range can expand. There's a pretty big range bar here. This one's a little bit bigger, but just eyeballing these, this one's a little bit bigger, and it is coming after a bottoming tail bar. But overall, you can see that other than some really big ones, the ranges are about where we're at right now. So we look at this and we want to keep our expectations in alignment with what's possible and not get overzealous. But, right now things are looking pretty darn good. The Dow is actually showing some relative strength. You can see where it's actually pushed above this resistance. It doesn't mean it can't come back down into it under a normal type of pullback, but ideally, what was resistance becomes support, basic technical analysis, and we'll see. Buyers step up, it could dip down underneath that. A lot of times they do that. We'll see what happens. S&Ps, not quite as bullish. They're not up at the top of the bar, and they haven't even taken out the top of the range. They're actually stalled just a little bit below it, so showing some relative weakness. Nonetheless, it's a good start. So now, looking at this chart independent from the Dow, what should it do? Well, obviously not go back down here, right? And if buyers are going to continue to step up, it'll either push through it this morning or it'll go sideways here. Just thinking about the normal type of price action historically, it could push up here, get longs caught, then it starts coming back in and chops around. So we'll see. But it's a good start to a reversal that could potentially do what my expectations were back before this whole Turkey thing came out. What an appropriate name, Turkey type of situation, because that's what it is. But this is what this market does, in that it shows strength, and then all of a sudden, there's rampant fear, and prices pull back to some support, and buyers step up again, and it makes its way higher, and that appears to be what's happening right now. Bottoming tail bar, sort of a green bar. It's early in the day, and this could be what Dan has coined a bull sandwich, Dan? Bear sandwich, and the bear's in the middle, and two green bars, which suggests, hey, now we're off to the races, back higher again. NASDAQ, relative weakness. That's been the theme here with the NASDAQ because of the internet sector. FDN is the ETF. And a lot of those stocks don't look so great. So maybe market strength, if it does continue, like we have this morning, it'll hold those stocks from dropping. And one that we put on a bear call spread was PayPal yesterday, which certainly doesn't look like it's going to be off to the races anytime soon after yesterday. And that's okay. We just want to see it stay below these levels here. And with this kind of a pattern, unless, some miracle happens and you get a 180 type reversal, it can happen. It's unlikely with a pattern like this, but, we're just looking for this to stay below a certain level, and that's all good as long as it does that. But this sector, FDN, what has been a leader for a long time, is tired, and that's okay. Now, so what we want to see, And, from the bullish point of view, we don't want to see this sector fall apart. So you can see the head and shoulders top here. We really don't want to see this break down and then start heading lower, because it's going to be difficult for especially the NASDAQ to continue to show strength if this big sector here would have been the winners for a long time are now in a little mini bear market. So we'll be keeping an eye on that to see how this unfolds here. And it's up a little bit, but really doing nothing with the market up like this. So it continues to show relative weakness, which is just fine for now. Bonds, nothing. Inside bar here. It's up at resistance. No interest. We'd like to see them go down, so interest rates go up, for all the reasons we've explained in prior mornings. Futures and crude oil are stabilized here, right at the 200 MA on the daily. See what happens. It's been kind of wacky, bottoming tail, try to go up, back down again. It isn't a downtrend. And these candle bodies are in the lower half of that wide range bar. So somewhat normal as to what the price patterns are supposed to do. But, bottoming tail followed by topping tail. And the expectation there, or the interpretation is, in a downtrend, the topping tail gets the respect. But at the time a bottoming tail bar forms, such as this one, you don't know that it's going to be followed by a topping tail. And who's to say it wouldn't have retraced and been a green day back up to the top of the wide range red bar? So, after the fact, we see a topping tail and say, okay, it's going lower. So it is. And it's into some support here. We'll see what happens. Gold just continues to pound on the gold bugs, and a little bit of a recovery here this morning, which I wouldn't read much into. Did accelerate a bit to the downside, so maybe a little bit of recovering there, or short covering going on, but no interest in gold. And the story today, I guess, is Walmart. Last I saw, what was it, up about $9? Why isn't it even in my list here? It should be. And this changes dynamically, but you can see most stuff is green. Anything that's highlighted in yellow is going down. Facebook is up. Not looking like much of anything. Bob has been weak. Not much of anything there. So when we see things that are moving, we then have to look at it. There's Walmart there. JCPenney maybe going out of business. Walmart up big. And Tesla just doing its wacky stuff there. So that is what's going on here. There's been some interest in Bitcoin that had dropped under 6,000 the other day and recovered. Be interesting to see if it could actually hold here, because this is where futures have created some support. Under there, it probably gets uglier. Right? That's a pretty big decline, but since it's at support, it makes sense that it's stabilized for the moment. Euro, a little bit of stabilization. And just looking what else is moving here. Anything of interest. Technology's up a point. The Apple, by the way, I had sent out a letter last night to advisory subscribers to check a way that I'm coming back down pretty hard here, send out the letters and that, and I'm still checking on something to see exactly how you enter there. But once you are into the site, no big deal. But if you come to the site and you're not logged in as a member, you can no longer see the preview of all letters from the little sidebar that comes out next to the letters. All yours, Dan.